Oh,
good.
vlog mode.
Yeah.
Vlog mode. Vlog mode.
I'll be handing.
And today.
Wait, is it on?
No.
Oh. The red
No.
light's on. I think it's on.
Yeah, it's on.
Oh, it
now
is
what?
on. Because it says recording.
We're reviewing today. We're taking your sightseeing test here in a moment, and we're reviewing.
Wait, you know what we should do instead of the sightseeing test? I'll give you a suggestion. We can talk about why Shenandoah made you so mad yesterday. Remember?
Because
During
nobody
Windows
was.
No, remember you said that theory kids were going to talk about the coordinate and why you didn't like
Oh,
it.
can you grab my backpack?
Oh yeah, that's just that was very frustrating.
Over there.
There's always a day like that though, where like I need to just probably rage on somebody, and I didn't do it. But.
You raged on the cord. The cord was
Yes.
taking your
Some of that was because, so the reason why that was super annoying is because they should have just written it the way it is in the score,
So
Yeah.
the score,
in the stupid condensed score.
so the score and the actual class.
So what it was is it did the thing that like lots of you is you're like, but this says F flat, and I know that F flat is what it needs to be, but that's really stupid. I'll just write it as E natural, but in the score I'll keep it as E or as F flat.
Oh.
So the score says one thing, but the parts say another. And so it's not really the kids' fault because they don't know that. But it is their fault when they aren't paying attention and don't know where we're at.
Oh, I remember that. I was there for that. Pretty sure we were there for that.
That's how I feel.
Are we gonna get a new,
Sorry, I don't pay
Wonder
attention
Set?
during Shenandoah because I play.
I know. I wish.
I think I play like 20 measures
There-
out of the however
Yeah, I
many
read
there
for
are.
only 20 minutes.
This is the bad thing about old music like that is that sometimes it's educationally still very valuable, but they assume, I guess, that whoever's playing tuba must be brain dead.
Well,
But no, like,
brain
and
dead.
it's just not like it's not cool. Like in the 70s and 80s, that's the way all those parts are.
really.
Like, yeah, it's always just like.
I do a major scale.
The bassoon part, the bassoon
I just
part-
go up in in half notes up a major scale. In
Like, I don't know.
E.
It just seems silly. Like, why wouldn't you write them a better part or give them a rhythm or something besides just a whole note? That's how it is.
That's all, literally shit. It makes me mad because like it's so pretty, like the chord is really
Right.
pretty, but like it's so boring to just sit there and just hold it. Okay, now I'm resting for 20 measures. Okay, now we hold it. Okay, now I'm resting.
So there is a we have another arrangement of it, the Frank Kelly arrangement of it, which is actually beautiful. Like, it's an amazing piece, but it is also significantly harder. And well, yeah, and there's no reason, like, all of you can obviously play it, but the idea with Shenandoah is that I wanted to be able to pass out a thing that we could spend, yeah, basically a day on, like the equivalent of a day, maybe spread out over a couple of days, but the equivalent of a day on, and be like, okay, it's ready to go, right? It's like not a real piece and not a chorale, it's like right in the middle,
Yeah.
right? That's the idea. And so I don't want to give a harder version of it because then it sort of, I don't know, it's just frustrating.
It doesn't do what you want it to.
My goal for band classes this year was to try to get more music out sooner. I wanted to play more music more often
Yeah.
because we're not doing stupid Isthmus stuff this year. So like we don't have to.
Wait, why too much work?
Yeah, well, after last year's ridiculousness, this year's gonna be chill.
Like, okay, I was in every single thing that got us that thing. It was super stressful.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it is fun, but I think what would be more fun is for us to do more concerts and more music, and just not have to like be locked into playing music that is like brutal crazy. Like we can play a couple of hard pieces, but I'd rather do way more music than
Like spent like what 2 months and just the same two.
exactly. And like that's kind of what you have to do. But and that there's value there. But if we don't have to do it that way all the time, I don't want to do it that way all the time.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my real frustration. It's like, man, I wanted to just have, here's a nice piece. Wow, cool. There's some things we can work. We can do some balance and chords and things. Now we play it. We'll put it on a performance. Done. Away it goes. First Flex concert is supposed to be middle of September, right? So, so the first wind ensemble concert's in like a month, right? Which should be 100% doable. Like that shouldn't be a problem. But if I have to spoon feed people notes, then it's not going to be possible, and I'm going to lose my mind. Hi, Kaden.
I don't even know if he's gonna watch this.
I guess it depends on how sick he is. How y'all doing?
I never finished the last 20
I'm
minutes
cold.
of that one
You didn't, or you did?
video. No.
Hmm.
There's just 20 minutes that I just didn't. But it's fine. I got the
Get your homework out, my friends. Oh, see, absolutely you can.
They doesn't have to worry about for another month.
Yeah, sure.
But I heard Paul Frick, you're gonna do day practices.
That's a great question. We're gonna keep the schedule as it exists, just because I think it's gonna work better for parents and stuff.
Well, some parents
But
work during this.
I know, but yeah, and if we did day practices, I think that makes things a lot harder for people to get their kids here
It's hard doing practice during, right? Just regular on normal.
during a normal time.
Hey
Correct.
Smith, what if I told you I left my chord thingy on my piano at my house, but it's died? That's it.
If you send me a picture of it today, then I will accept it.
Okay.
Until then, I will not accept it. Did you
I mean,
fight and struggle here? Yeah, this is major boy. Yeah, there's minor boy. So all them circles. Very good. Okay, so send me a picture of it, all
I
right?
will.
Did you circle your leading
I
tones?
did.
Did you struggle mightily?
Yeah.
Excellent.
You answered all your leading tones.
I did. Oh, the E sharp. E sharp.
That G flat minor.
E sharp.
We'll
Oh,
talk
I
about
forgot
G
there.
flat minor. It is
I got
the
that
worst.
one right there. I was more focused on getting the scale done rather than.
So you did G sharp instead of G flat. We'll talk about it. It is on the circle of fifths, but just maybe not where you want it to be. Cool.
Oh my god, I did both.
Thank you for the Apple ASMR rating.
That's a lot of scribbles.
My streak has been ruined.
It's okay.
Just chewing it.
It's all right. Just get the rest of it done, okay? Still try to get it done for me. All right. So, let's talk about, get out your circle of fifths, and let's talk about G flat minor.
Hey, Smith, what little baby little baby?
No, I'm just gonna make.
I literally brought it
You want
up to my
circle
piano. I'm like,
fifths?
I'm not doing this on my piano, and then I proceeded to
gonna make one.
I don't have the ability to print you another
G
one at the moment.
flat is the same as C
Okay.
I'll
sharp.
make one.
Now,
from both
Just add one more.
to a degree, I should have probably just been a little nicer about writing the minors, but you know, whatever. And yes, technically, G sharp minor isn't really a thing. Sorry, G flat minor isn't really a thing. Is it the same as?
C sharp.
Well, C sharp.
Major.
Wait, which one are we talking about? We're talking about, oh, you're talking about D flat. I'm talking about G flat.
Oh.
Where is G flat minor? Where would G flat minor be?
F sharp.
F sharp
Okay.
minor, right? So F sharp minor all the way up there. The problem with that is that it would have two flats, two double flats
The B
in
and
the
Y.
key signature, right? So G flat, A flat, B double flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, F flat, G flat, A flat. That's it. Right, no, I went too far. But basically, it's going to have a B double flat and an E double flat in the key signature. I really shouldn't have given you that one.
Nope.
And I'm sorry,
No, you're not.
but I did it. Same kind of thing. D flat minor is really the same as
C sharp.
C sharp minor. C sharp minor has four sharps and is the one that really that should have been. Especially since I didn't give you a C sharp minor on the other side, and that one is actually like a usable scale. So I apologize for that. That's my fault for making you suffer through those things.
Yeah, it is. Smith.
Sorry.
It is.
I blame you for all my suffering.
And I'm not happy about it.
That's fine.
Actually,
I
I
accept your
I went forward
rage.
and
I accept it.
but
But since you what? Get what?
Don't say it, don't say it. It's gonna make things worse.
Christopher.
Well, if you take a look at the homework
Shut
for
up.
today.
You've been marked.
Whoa. Whoa.
Basically, I want you
read it
to.
again?
Oh, I want you to correct it if you made some mistakes.
Big.
Oh!
But if you didn't make any mistakes, then
I'm perfect.
you don't
we're
have to
doing
worry about
another
it.
triumph worksheet.
No.
later?
This is. I want you to correct the one if you need to correct things.
Maybe if you were just.
All of you need to make a correction.
Yeah.
If we're being real, you made a mistake.
I understand that.
So why are you gonna fix your mistake?
Yeah. I need you to fix my mistake.
Really?
So,
I didn't even start anyways. So I can't
where it
say
says
it.
D flat minor on the back, I want you to change that to C sharp minor.
So D flat would also have a double sharp.
D flat would too, yes, which is why we're just getting rid of
We're
it.
gonna get double hex.
That's fine. So it needs to be C sharp minor, not D flat.
No. Never. It's my livelihood.
Then obviously G flat minor needs to be not G flat minor. Instead, you should do,
So we're just erasing.
yeah. So instead of doing G flat minor, sorry, I want you to do F sharp minor. Right, sorry. No, because you did G sharp, which is not the same, right? You put G sharp as your root, right? It's not the same at all.
Monday.
So I think those are the only two really goofy ones, right?
I need a big eraser for my big mistakes.
So once you get those done, that means you're also done with your homework for this week.
We never have this with our homework. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I've been
C
here-
sharp minor and F sharp. Yeah.
Hey Smith.
Well, you're lucky. You didn't even do it, so you don't have to erase it.
Make sense?
Yeah, but I still have to do it all.
Okay.
I mean, I
Just
guess
erase
it's not-
this,
I guess it's
and
less-
instead of doing D flat minor, do C sharp minor.
What are erasers made of?
Xanthan gum.
Is that from trees?
Nah, it's a guy named Xanthem, and he just chews some gum.
Okay, cool.
No, you actually take his gums out.
Like,
You need a saw.
Wait, huh?
So basically, redo those two, and then we'll that'll be your homework. Okay?
Well, why do you know what erasers are made of?
You're so nice to us. That we had
I know.
Why
It's
is
nice
that, why
to
is
know.
that common
It's
knowledge?
no,
Because you didn't hesitate. You were like, I think it's. You were like.
It's nice to know random facts about random things.
I can't.
So, like I said at the beginning of this class, there's no such thing as useless knowledge. All knowledge eventually has a use. And I
Like
knew the
just
answer
now?
to that for some time when a student of mine was going to ask me a question. And then I could provide them an answer.
Smith, what's your favorite dinosaur?
So, So, really, do you want me to say my favorite one to say or what my actual favorite
Both.
one is?
Both.
Pachylocephalosaurus is my favorite one to say. It's the one with the hard head that runs into each other.
Yes.
It's also the one that I'm probably the most like. Not because they're bald,
Is it because you were late?
but you know, getting there. But you know, so
Old man Smith.
the other answer is any of the dinosaurs that have a thagomizer.
Is it spiky tail?
It's the spiky tail or the ball on the end of the tail. Because that's the name of that thing.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
called Thagomizer.
That thing is
Well,
just
it was named after like
perfect.
a comic strip, right?
Yeah, something like
It
that.
was
yeah.
actually.
So if I ever have a metal band,
Because there was never.
for whatever reason,
Thagomizer?
the name of the metal band will be Thagomizer.
They named it that because there wasn't
I can
actually
see
ever a
it.
name for it, and they were like,
Yeah, it's not really my thing. Like,
But
I-
that's exactly why I could see.
I got
Sure,
a shot
right.
yesterday, so I got a.
The drum engineer.
Right there?
Just the
You got
inflatable
Charlie.
dinosaur costumes.
Anyway,
No, come on.
now I feel like y'all are trying to distract me from
so I have
teaching.
a serious-
No, we
we
just
just
need
what
to
your
have
favorite is this thing.
Do you
The
believe
last
that
question before we
dinosaurs?
do stuff.
You know when you told me to look for a blue dress? I don't know.
Do you
We got your dress ordered. It'll be here soon.
Do you believe that dinosaurs have fur?
No.
Feathers, yes. Fur, no.
Same thing. Keep them warm.
It's not the same.
No, I know, but it's the same thing in my
From
mind.
an evolutionary standpoint, they're very different.
Yes, but my mind says the same.
Is this a random question?
It's more of a statement.
I'm prepared.
I rediscovered the horrors of clowncore.
Clowncore? What is clowncore?
Clowncore is Lewis Cole's secret project.
I'm gonna go.
Well, it's never been admitted that's Lewis Cole, but like literally, who else could it be?
What is Lewis-
It's definitely Lewis Cole.
Oh, did you listen to the new
Don't
Lewis
give
Cole
up.
thing?
It's awesome. It's really pretty. It's very, very pretty.
But is it appropriate?
Yeah. It'd be fun. Yeah, it's Lewis Cole. I like the Van album a lot, but
I don't like the videos for the band album.
Why do they look like that? It's giving me
it,
2016 vibes.
it's
mean from whatever-
exactly. It's Lewis Cole and Sam Wendell, the saxophone player. Yeah, that's who it is.
Cute one. This is what I got.
Okay. Anyway, you can listen to Clown Core on your own time.
No, we can't.
Yeah, Portabon.
They're not all school appropriate.
Not at all.
Some of them aren't terrible.
I think I know one of their songs.
But the
Isn't
ones
it
that are
The
just
Realm of
are.
Incomprehensible Suffering. It sounds like
Yeah,
elevator
You know what?
music.
Song about
That
Friday
doesn't.
summer.
The one.
No, the elevator music that I listen to is
Except the
elevated elevator music for an elevated soul.
1, 2, ready, major scale. Arpeggio 2, ready, and.
Did we go to the 7th? Did we go to the T?
We will this time. 1, 2, ready, and. Oh, you want to do the dough up top too? Fine. 1, 2, ready, and. Minor.
Calm yourself.
2, ready, and. Arpeggio, ready, and. Sorry.
Stretch.
Got a bad case of the dumb fingers. 1, 2, arpeggio. Okay, cool. So here's how your quiz is about to go.
No, it's okay.
So everybody can kind of go back there basically and not pay attention to what's happening up here.
So I can turn the
Then you'll come up here one at a time,
Wait, no,
and I will play a note, and then you sing a major scale based on that note. Then I will play a different note, and you will sing a minor scale based on that note. It's just the scales, it's not the arpeggios. I will give you a couple of chances at it, okay?
We gotta do some.
Yes, you need to sing solfege. You do not need to do hand signs.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to, but you don't have to. Okay, so each one of these will be worth 5 points, okay?
5 points per
Per scale,
Okay.
right?
They
So
don't per note.
5 points. So the entire thing is 10 points, the exact same as a homework grade. Okay, you'll be all right. If you get it perfect, when I mean perfect, I mean like everything is basically in tune and you pretty well got it, then you'll get 5 points. 4 points is pretty okay. 3 points is pretty bad. Okay, 2 points is you didn't really sing a scale. 1 point is you didn't try. So let me give you that grading scale again. 1 point is you didn't try. 2 points is it wasn't a scale, like it didn't have enough notes, okay? 3 points is it wasn't very good. Okay? See how friendly this is? 4 points is, all right, yeah, recognizable as a major scale. 5 points is you got it. Okay? Notice how friendly. 3 points is, it wasn't good. 3 points out of 5. 60%. Okay? So
Not great.
I'm here to help. Okay? It's not going to be a terrible time for you. I will dismiss you to the back of the room to meander around for a little
Wait, are you gonna
bit.
be one of those teachers who like does our grades the whole time?
No, that's why I'm having you all go
Take the
back there and
blanket.
meander.
Taking the blanket.
Yeah, that's fine.
The hallway meander.
No, you need to stay in here because I can't just let you like go away.
What are we doing marketing?
Yeah, but that's not during the school day. Whichever one of you feels like you're ready to come on down, just come on down and we'll do it.
I say we all just stay here.
He
go first? Who wants to go first? I'm gonna start calling names.
Someone go for the greater good. Go. Vanish. Vanish. Aubrey's vanished. The clan has decided.
Come on down, Aubrey. You all have to go eventually, so.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2. What do I do?
Right up here. Okay. Probably a soprano? Is that an okay, comfortable note? Okay, that's fine. Yeah. All right, major scale, starting there. Whenever you're ready.
You don't have to go yet.
Alright. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti.
Wow.
La, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
Okay. We'll go a little higher. Minor. Yeah. 10 out of 10. Nice job. You get to choose the next one. You get to yeet somebody out of the pile.
Alright, fire it in.
No, I get to pick the next. No,
Oh no, Aubrey gets to pick the next one.
Rock, paper, scissors.
No,
What?
you yeeted Aubrey out, that means Aubrey gets to choose the next person.
What is happening? It was for the greater good.
Yeah, Aubrey. It's for the greater good, alright.
Alright, bye-bye.
No, guys. Hey guys.
Come on down.
We're not friends anymore. We're not friends anymore, Aubrey. Aubrey, I don't like you. I'm not friends with her anymore, Seth.
What is going on? Oh,
I'm not friends with her anymore.
I'm not going under.
I would not trust that thing. I would not trust that
If I die, I have to do this.
I don't want you on sport.
Major.
Wait, can you just like finish?
Alright, fine. You're the next one to
Okay,
sing.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna go third. Here. Now, I command you.
If he doesn't want to come in.
You're too high or too low. You're close to a low note. You get a lower for the low note.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Should probably choose me because
Okay. You another triad? They're not laughing. You're not paying attention.
So you got. Oh, so yeah, you three.
Okay. Okay.
Paper goes over rock. No, because you got
I
out.
feel like I'm better at singing than anybody.
No, because you guys won.
This is
So it's the person who, you guys tied.
Oh,
yeah. Except that's not actually the word for this item. It's a comfort item, Lincoln. It's just comfort item. Okay, fine, you get to go next.
I missed one. So,
Yeah, we should, yo! Primary!
do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do,
Oh my lord, my neck.
It was a little better.
Whiplash.
Okay.
I know my grade.
7 out of 10.
Do I get to pick it again?
You do get to choose.
Oh, Christopher, go.
Okay. And then we all look. Is this being recorded?
Technically, yes.
I don't know what my range is.
You switched fa and la
Yeah.
words, but the notes are correct.
Yeah. Going down is, I can't.
You'll
go
get
down.
there. Does that feel low or high?
It's a little high on the high part.
She's like, oh, okay, I'll just die.
Fa, sol, la, ti, do, te, la, fa.
Shake me.
Re.
Oh, yeah, I don't even like bounce around inside.
So, may, re, do.
Which is cool. The solfege is messed up.
It's
Do, te, la, le, so, fa, me, re, do. Pitches were good though. 10 out of 10. Thank you. Next.
All right.
You get to choose, Christopher.
Take my place. It's very important.
I say we. Hi, Mr. Smith.
Hello, sir. Be a tenor. Not that much of a tenor. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Are we doing arpeggios?
No. Do you want to try that one again? Your me was, or your
Yeah,
me was a little flat.
Yeah, I was running my brain.
Okay.
Fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
That's exactly it. Good. You want to go higher or lower than that? Choose your.
Maybe just a little higher or just a little.
Oh. No, let's go here.
Just a second, I'm out of breath. We were doing the thing over there. Sorry. Do, re, mi. Nope, that was me. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la.
It's not gonna be the last.
Hey, get out of here. Get out of here. You get out of here.
I think I would maybe on the way down.
You can just sing on ah, it's okay. Yeah, you kind of were in between. You were flat on the 7, and that pushed everything else lower than it needed to be. Let's sing it together. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, te, do, te, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. Yeah, just make sure that you really keep those, keep that minor sound in your ear. You're probably not used to singing minor scales as often. You did fine. 9 out of 10. Thank you, sir. Choose your next friend to join us.
Who has not gone? Stop staring here.
Are she sacrificed?
Wait, did you go already?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're going.
And then you get to go again.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Get in here.
Guys, yeah, let's start this.
It doesn't matter.
Y'all's breath is hot.
Guys, stop.
Okay.
You don't want to know. No,
Or you can start up here, whichever one you want.
Like, well, they're all die, so.
Okay, then here it is.
For major?
It's better going down than it was up. You want to do it again?
Put your hand in. Oh, my hand. Okay.
Okay. You're do re mi. You're a little flat on the 3rd, right? Do re mi. Kind of like we're halfway between major and minor, right? Okay. Let's do. Actually, let's start there. And that's your minor.
That's it, you're getting sacrificed.
Keep going.
So, I can go whatever it is.
Elijah!
What?
Elijah, read.
Oh, this or this?
Again, Again, going down was better than going up. It's interesting. 8 out of 10. So really work on getting that do, re, mi sound in your ear. Cool. You may choose the next. Next. Hello, sir. It's major.
What is that?
Is that too high? You choose a lower note. So that was a minor scale.
Tell me where to go.
With major, so you sang a minor scale pretty accurately. Do you want to try the major scale? Try that again.
This is not okay. We're going to crash. It's going to be bad. We're going to crash and we're going to topple like dominoes.
Closer. It's closer. Okay. Minor.
We should do this. I want to do the thing.
We already did the thing.
Yeah, we can do
You
the
have to do it again.
Why?
Come on, we're getting back on the first.
Pretty good.
Baby Jesus.
Yeah, 8 out of 10.
Song goes.
Emerson, I think you're the last one, yeah?
I already know. I know what you're talking about.
Let's go.
Come on, guys, get the third.
Christopher, I'm sorry. I think I
Elijah, stop pointing the
Why? It's so cool though.
Yes, then get him. Oh, come on, Aubrey.
It's so cool.
Oh, yeah. It's because Elijah's taking a phone.
Why?
Elijah's down. Oh, go.
Clearly, I am the emperor here.
Put it down.
One time. Uh-huh.
Elijah Reed. Not Christopher.
That's what I said. No.
Okay, all right. All right, let's do minor.
Elijah!
Not only whip, but also knee.
Nervous. Anyways.
I found it really good. Yeah, no, that's why I'm not playing it yet.
Okay, so obviously the words you're saying aren't right.
Yeah.
So I'm just listening to the pitches instead, right? So you can just sing it on off right now. That's gonna help you. Try that. If we were doing a chromatic scale, you would be blowing it up right now. Do, te, le, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi. Okay, all right. That's a 6 out of 10. We'll keep practicing, okay? I'll give you some hints around things. Okay, everybody come back down. Envelop it.
How do you feel?
I
I think it's always been a cult. We just haven't realized it until now.
No, listen.
That's pretty.
Here's the thing between cults and religion. Cults
Stop
are
it.
just like unrecognized by the government. Religions are. They're just cults recognized by the government. Cults are just unrecognized. That's the only difference. In all honesty.
1, 2, major, go.
Mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
Minor, 1, 2, ready, and.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
Are you warm now?
Okay,
Take this. 'Cause I have
So-
not sleep on them.
overall, things are okay. You need to, especially since most of you are just strictly band kids, there's only one who's a choir person. Have you sung before too? Have you been in a choir? Okay.
I've been like 1 year.
Cool. So if you've never really been in a choir before, first off, a quick plug for being in a choir. It's a great idea, okay? You know, if it's a thing that you can do second semester for some reason or another, you've got some weird gap in your schedule, I don't know. Strong recommendation of choir. It's a great experience for all musicians, and I think is an important way for you to, especially if you're a button pusher, right?
I
Just-
just push
or
buttons to
hit
annoy
things.
No, I just push buttons. Like,
Sure.
I'm annoying.
But
That's it.
being in a choir is a great way to recognize that you are the instrument, that like you yourself physically are the instrument, and that realization is very good.
It's also
What
very
instrument am I?
It is goofy, it's true,
What
of course.
instrument am I?
Anyway, I'll also mention that
That was hard.
you guys just need to sing more, quite clearly. You guys just don't sing enough. I'm sure you listen to stuff all the time, but how often do you really sing along with it?
All the time.
I mean, if I'm in the car, I'm just singing.
Darwin Derby, my jam.
I sing along with
Darwin
people that
Derby.
don't have ears.
Love Darwin Derby.
It's a good song. It's a
It's a
good tune.
great song.
What will help you too? So let me show you this. So here's a song I'm thinking about writing out for Pep Band.
Like a bundle of rocks and trees and sliced out on the head.
Sing do. Okay, there's 4 different notes there.
Why is it over it?
Oh, which do do you want?
Why am I plugged here?
Why are there 2 flies now?
Let's sing do. Ready? And. Closer, not quite. That one I dig. That one's correct.
Oh, yeah, you guys just suck. No, I'm kidding. I love you guys. I'm sorry.
Now, man, I used to have all my cables up here.
I ate them all. Sorry. I
Ask Levi. Levi likes to.
I
put
joined
things
them.
in
They're
the-
very tasty.
Ooh.
Y'all, we have
I
to
am
juniors. We have to take the
so
ASVAB
tired.
soon.
So, that's annoying. So that little game that I just did, playing a song and trying to sing what do is based on that song, it's getting your ears moving, right? It's getting everything kind of locked up together. Oh, I don't know, let's choose. Now you're singing the chord progression, which I appreciate. Sing do right there. I'll tell you which one to sing. I know it's too quiet. Right here. Right.
Does it say like? That sounds cool.
I like the song too.
That's not the actual beginning of the song, is it?
It's very similar. This is a cover.
Okay.
Here it comes. And right here. Yeah, right. Find some music that you like. Doesn't have to be something that's like good or something you like. And try to start singing along to where do is. And then once you get to a certain point, you can start singing along with the bass lines, those things too. What you really need to do is start hearing those things more frequently and listening to those patterns more frequently. And because honestly, a lot of what I'm hearing from you singing these scales is just you're not comfortable with singing. It's not so much that you don't have the intervals in your head, it's that you are not comfortable expressing them. And that's fine. Like in a normal class, that would not be a big deal. The problem is that on the AP test, that's a thing that is actually a part of what you're doing, right? Speaking about the AP test, so we need to talk about this today. You might want to get some something to write down, some reminders about this, because you're going to need to make a decision here quite soon.
Can we arrange what's here for Pepe?
It's
It's kind of it'd be
Not
hard
very
to-
peppy.
it's not very peppy.
But
It's a cool song,
it
but it's
is.
not very peppy.
Whatever. What if I just want to play it? I'm gonna make everybody around me play.
Now, here's the thing. So this is a little different this year for the AP test for you guys. You're going to have to make a decision if you want to take the AP test like soon, like in the next 2 or 3 weeks
For music theory?
for music theory.
But we don't know everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're not taking the test.
Oh, just-
You have to decide if you're going to take the test.
Oh.
think that's-
So let me explain. So the AP Music Theory test is given in May, okay? And the way I had this class set up, it is optional. It does not benefit or harm your grade in any way, shape, or form if you take the AP test. It does not even count as a grade. The test itself is unconnected to this class, except that this class prepares you to take the test. Taking the test does not do anything to you in this class, good or bad.
Outside of the class? Like college-wise?
College-wise, if you pass it, you get college credit for this class, right? But if you don't want to take the AP test, it's fine. You don't have to. You don't have to for this class or for school or for anything, right?
Well, English for fourth.
Right. This is not that.
Yeah.
That's why this is different, right? You get to choose if you want to take it or not. Now, what makes this a little bit annoying is that you still have to pay for it, though, if you want to take it. And it costs money. It's $97 to take the test.
Just this test.
Yes, just this test. However, and that's the way it's always been. This year there is something different in there. The school will pay for it for you if you are on the free reduced lunch thing. So if you have a free reduced lunch thing on file at the school, or if you need to have one on the school, they will pay for that AP test if you choose to take it. Now that's up to you. That's all you. That's you stuff, right? Right now, I haven't even signed. This class is not official yet because AP doesn't even. Most of the country hasn't started school yet, right? And AP is nationwide. It's not even available for me to sign this class up to exist because most of the country is not in school until after Labor Day, right?
Where are we?
Yeah, seriously,
Why?
because things are busted. I could talk about this for a long time. I don't want to.
Are we busted or are they busted?
No, we're busted, 100%.
They started in July.
So
Yeah.
this class isn't official yet, which means you can't even sign up for the AP test yet because this class isn't registered with AP yet because I can't even sign it up for it yet. Now that's my thing to do next week, basically. That's all fine and dandy. Once I register this class with College Board, then you will be able to sign up to take the AP test. Cool. But the thing you need to decide is, do you want to pay to take the AP test? You are not required to take it in this class. And like I said, it benefits you in 0 ways for this class.
Do we need
You have to pay when you sign up.
Oh, great.
So that's the other thing too. And if, I don't remember what the deadline is. I think the deadline is somewhere in early October, I think. So basically you have like a month to decide, I think. I'll double check that that's the case. But you need to really be thinking about, do you want to take the test or not in May? Okay, not in October or November or whatever. The test isn't until May, but you have to sign up for it in the fall here. So it's $97. That is what it is. If you do not sign up for it, it's totally fine. It doesn't affect me at all. But the only downside is you don't get to have the credit for it. If you think you want to take it, you want to really make sure that you're going to get the credit for it. Otherwise, you're just paying for a thing and you're just giving money to the College Board, a very evil company that I dislike strongly. And we don't want to just give them money pointlessly. So only sign up for it if you're like, I think I'm feeling okay about all this so far. I think I can do it. I'm just going to really know that that's a thing that I need to be preparing myself for to take in May. This class will prepare you for it. My goal is to have you all the way through the material by April, really. Right? So you'll have everything you need. Hi there.
Hi, this is free.
Can't wait. I can wait. It's actually you.
Oh, thank you.
So, questions about AP stuff?
If we let's say for some reason we got 1 on the test, colleges can't see that.
I don't think so. I don't think it can hurt you if you take it and don't pass it. I don't think there's any way they can a college isn't going to care. It's not like an entrance exam, right? I don't even think they report that.
So if they don't report it, then how can if we go to if I were to go apply for Boston, hey, I got a 5 on the AP Music Theory.
Then the College Board will send a thing to whatever college you go to. Basically,
if I put it on there.
Exactly.
Oh, that makes sense.
Other questions? Just as a rough idea, how many of you are thinking you're going to want to take it? This is not finalized in any way, shape, or form, but who thinks you might want to take the AP test? Okay, that's fine. Cool. Do not feel pressured, okay? If you don't want to take it, don't take it. If you want to take it, okay? Don't feel like you have to. It is not a part of this class. This is an AP class, and I'm teaching it to prepare you for that, but it is not a requirement of the class. That is the advantage, right? It's not like, English where you have to take it.
Why don't they force us to take it in English and force us to pay for it? We have to pay for our English test.
It's subsidized.
Why do you keep letting me noises?
Yeah, but that's still what's the point?
So the thing you gotta understand is that schools like to advertise how many AP and dual credit courses they
So
offer.
they're putting us through hell just to get them more money?
Not more money, but it helps the school look better because they can say, we offer 25 AP and dual credit classes.
But they're okay. So they don't care about the way we're handling it. They only care that it makes them look good.
You must be new here.
I'm not. It's just
On
like
Earth.
it makes me mad. It just makes me mad.
No, you're right to be upset about this, and it is a thing that I'm unhappy about too. I am not in favor of the AP stuff. I fully recognize that this is an AP class. I don't actually think it's a particularly great idea for kids, for most kids. For a very precious few, okay, maybe. But for the most part, I don't think you should be in college when you're in high school. I have this weird thing where I think that kids should be kids.
Crazy.
Right? And, becoming a junior in high school doesn't mean you become a freshman in college.
That's in the church. I've taken 5 college level classes.
Right. So you're a freshman in college right now.
Yeah,
Because in your freshman year of college, you usually only take 4 classes. That's a full load, right? Now, granted, you're going slower in those classes now than you would be if you were in college. But even still.
17.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, I have opinions about that. And I don't think that that's necessarily healthy for most kids. Regardless if you can do it or not. That's not what I'm talking about. It has nothing to do with ability. It has to do with, is that actually, what's best for you?
I've already cried twice this year. It's only been a month.
Yeah. And and yeah, I get that I'm kind of a part of that because I'm teaching this class right now. But, I got to feed my kids too.
Yeah, but you're not like we have a test next period,
Yeah.
Kylie and I, and
Oh my
it's
God.
literally, it's just everything we've learned, and he gave us like chapter 3, and he had us read it, and then didn't teach hardly anything on it. Like we didn't even like the last
So
two lessons.
that's the other thing too, is that AP classes and dual credit classes have to follow a different schedule.
Right.
Yeah, but like
But
it's, not,
that was-
it's not fair. Literally everybody's taking his bombed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he doesn't.
And we're gonna get in trouble for it. He's gonna get mad at us for it if we all bomb it. And it's not our fault when he gives us literally like what, 3 weeks to cover an entire unit
Yeah.
of material. And we're like, hey, dude, we can't do this. We don't know. Everybody in our class bombed that quiz. Literally everybody bombed it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's like, that's fine. You guys can fail.
Well-
It's fine.
Yeah, I took that test.
And a part of what I would say to that, and this is not me being a jerk, it's just what it is that you signed up for the class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did.
And, you know,
I feel like there's a difference between like I know we
I have a
signed up
lot of
for
things
it,
that I
but,
shouldn't say. So, basically, you signed up for the class, but I understand that there could be some external pressures applied about that kind of thing, right? And so, Shelly, my wife, we went to high school together. We went to college together too. We didn't date or anything during that time. We were friends in high school and in college. And for a long time, I was really pissed off with Shelly before she was my wife because she got a big fat full ride scholarship out of high school because she had a 4.0 out of high school. She obliterated every class she took, which makes sense. She's very, very smart. Like she is very, very intelligent. But she also didn't take any high level classes. She cheesed it. And I was really upset about that because like that seems unfair because I was taking some really hard classes and I took, you know, calc and some programming stuff and things that like I was not going to get an A in, right? And because of that, I didn't get anything close to the grade she did. I had like a 3.6, I guess, which was fine. Like, who cares? Now that I'm graduated, nobody gives a crap about something like that, right? But it mattered because she had her undergrad literally fully paid for because she had a 4.0 in high school. And UE, where we went to college, offered a full tuition scholarship for kids who had a perfect 4.0 GPA, right? And so she cheesed that thing, but in a lot of ways was way smarter than I was because she got a full tuition degree paid for out of high school by just taking the easy classes and nailing them out of the park. Did she learn as much? Now, she also got a 4.0 in undergrad, which I very didn't. And then she got a 4.0 in her master's degree too, which I don't even have one of those. So, you know, clearly she has redeemed herself. But I learned a lot in that it's like, wow. At the time, it's like, that's just lazy. And now I go back and look at it and say, I was really stupid. Like, if my goal was to do that kind of thing, then I should have not taken some of the dumb classes that I took. I don't know if there's a lesson in there somewhere.
It's different when you go to like the counselors and like, hey, you need to take all the, you want this? Okay,
Right.
you need to take all these, you need to take 5 of these classes.
To be clear, I really, you are very lucky to have the counselors that you have here. Like, legitimately, these are the best set of counselors I've ever worked with in 15 years, okay? So I think they're great people. I think they have the right interests of students in mind. However, I think they also push kids into classes they don't need to be in. And they have to do that in order to keep balanced schedules. Because if you have, like, the reason why I can teach 8 of you is because my other classes are gigantic. And every other year I teach a music history class that, the last time, not this last time I taught it, but the time before that, I had 75 kids in one section. Yeah. I had a 75-person music history course. That in 2019, 2019-20. 75 kids, me. Just 75 kids and me in one classroom at the same time.
Was that before you split it with Sheffield?
That's before I split with Sheffield, which I actually didn't want to split it. They split that class because they needed to balance his class load. That's my class.
Yeah.
And he can teach it. Like he's got a master's in music performance. He is 100% like legit in teaching that stuff. No problem. But it's my class.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, I was a little upset about that. They took it away because they took away that second section and gave it to him because they needed to balance the schedule.
Like, is it just his specific teaching schedule, or is it like everyone?
Right. Well, so if a teacher has too few students, other teachers will start to become a little angry about that because English teachers have to have 125 kids, and they're reading 125 essays every time you write one. They have to read 125 of them, right? Like that, and that gets to be really brutal for them when they have 7 classes of 25 kids. That's it's a lot. Like, and it's a lot, and I'm not trying to diminish that. And so if one of those teachers came in here and saw 8 of you in here, you'd be like, how's that fair? Well, this is an AP class. Like, this is supposed to be super hard. But a lot of teachers would not feel like that is a balanced way of making the schedule happen. So the tendency is in those upper level classes to try to get as many kids in those upper level classes as would take a regular section of that class. You see what I'm after here? So they try to get 25, 30 kids into those classes, not asking the question of, should there be 25 or 30 kids in that class? Right? In my opinion, all of these upper level classes should have about 8 or 9, 10 of you total. AP Calc should have probably a dozen kids max.
We offer AP Calc?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I think English is the same way. I think Comp and Lit both should be that way.
We have like 25, 30.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch.
I know.
We have a full.
And it's that way because they basically took the top third of the English grades in that grade and said, great, those are your AP kids. They took the middle third of the grade and said, that's your regular class. And the bottom third and said, okay, that's the remediation class. That's essentially the way it has to work scheduling wise.
I thought you only got put in AP classes even if you signed up for it. Like, not just because you have the top, like, 3%.
That's true in theory. The problem is that in order to balance schedules, sometimes they will encourage kids who are on the border to go up to the class.
So they basically like pressure you.
Not so much pressure you. They will encourage you to take that higher level difficulty class. Right. And all this is really a symptom. By the way, we're going to actually get to some real stuff here. And you're asking a genuine question, so it deserves a genuine answer. But this is really a symptom of Silver Creek being exactly the wrong size. Like, we need to either fully accept that we are a big school and start treating things like we're a big school, or we need to get rid of half of the kids and be a small school. Like, because physically, Silver Creek still thinks it has 500 people here. This is set up like a 500-person school, physically, and also the way the schedules and classes are designed.
Like 2 grades worth of kids.
Right, exactly. We're literally double that size, but we're still running it like it's a small school, right? There should be a AP English teacher, period, right? Not a junior AP and a senior AP who also are teaching all of the junior classes and all of the senior classes, right? And like, that's not a thing though, because we can't afford to have that many teachers. Well, we could if we restructured the way a lot of other things are put together, but
I feel like if we got the school bigger and like further back, if we started construction, like if we could have done that.
right, if we had broken off from West Clark 10 years ago.
Yeah, when it initially started happening when I was in 5th grade. Like, because that's when all the talks started happening and the voting happened.
Right.
But
Right.
they allowed, because they had to allow like Henryville and the other West Clark schools, and they didn't.
Right. So you would have had a very different circumstance.
Yep.
And this school is going to look very different, not just physically, but like this exact kind of thing that we're talking about is going to change, because there really should be 60 or 65 teachers in this school, and there's 50, right? It's like 52, I think.
Marching band?
That's the size of a marching band. That's scary.
And we're down. Okay, this is not all I want to talk about today, obviously.
Sorry, I got my hands.
Hey, Smith in the future, cut to right here. We're starting class now. Hi, Kaden!
Kaden.
Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're feeling okay. What happened before this?
Don't worry about it.
Not a thing. Okay, let's review, my friends. So, this is a catch-up review day. We're gonna go all the way back to square one. And I'm gonna reteach the whole mess in one hot go and answer your questions as we're going to get right to where we just stopped. Okay, if we don't get this done today, then we'll bleed this over to next class. This is the moment to make sure that you've got everything squared away in your head correctly. So you need to be taking notes or go reading through your notes and making sure that you've got the information that's here. And ask questions if you need to, and be paying attention and be active in this, okay? Because we're just gonna blast through it all in one hot go.
I parked my car there, and this is with me today.
Cool.
Not in the car.
Okay, let's talk about the circle of fifths. So, the circle of fifths is an arrangement of notes that happens to be very, very advantageous for lots of patterns in music theory. So all 12 notes that exist in Western music theory are represented on the circle of fifths, and they are arranged in a particular order. Basically, you go up by fifths. So if you start at top C, go up a fifth. G, you go, this is new information for you, I guess, isn't it?
I wasn't here when we covered.
Well, hold on to your butt. You go up by another fifth.
Space.
D, what's a fifth above D?
Lord.
A, what's a fifth above A?
E.
Keep going.
B or C
B.
flat.
Keep going.
F sharp.
F sharp.
D flat.
Or C.
It's
Yeah,
brain's
keep
melting
going.
already. A flat.
Keep going.
E flat.
Keep going.
B flat. F.
F.
And then you get C.
And then you got C. Right. So the circle of fifths is so called because it is arranged by ascending fifths. Everything goes up by a fifth. Now, you can also look at it exactly backwards, where everything goes down a fourth, right? So if you start on F, what's down a fourth from from C? Sorry. Oh, I gave it away. What's down a fourth from C?
F.
Keep going.
B flat. E
D
flat.
flat, A flat, D flat.
Not E flat.
D flat.
It's a D flat.
D flat. Yeah.
F sharp,
Or G flat.
C flat.
B. Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah.
E.
Ugh.
A.
Duh.
D. G. And then
Disgusting.
last one, C.
So just backwards. It's
Yep. So here's one piece of information that you haven't technically learned yet, but this is the next thing we're going after. If you go to the right, okay, so F, G, D, those are what are called perfect fifths. If you go the other direction, it's perfect fourths. This is why it's called the circle of fifths, or some people call it the circle of fourths if they write it backwards. I think that's a dumb way of writing. They have their reasons, but I think the reasons are dumb. So, and yes, I will physically fight them in the streets.
Wow.
12 o'clock. Meet me out back.
So wait, if you go up more, it's still perfect fifths, like
Yep.
E, A, E.
Mm-hmm. It will always repeat. No matter where you start, if you go up by fifths, after 11 iterations, you will end up where you started. Okay? So, that pattern also gives us our key signatures. So at the top of the key signature, C, there is no sharps, no flats. Then on the sharp side, every little wedge on the circle of fifths is one additional sharp. 1 sharp, 2 sharp, 3 sharp, 4 sharp, 5 sharp, 6 sharps.
Blue sharp.
7
red sharp.
sharps. And then got
So
7
you
again.
can have 7 sharps, obviously, that is fine, but you don't want to have more than that because then you're into the theoretical keys that have double sharps in the key signature. Bad times don't do it. You don't even really need to understand it. Okay, basically stop at 7
I'm just trying
sharps.
to think of how that would look. Would you put like a double sharp?
You would have a double sharp in the key signature. So you'd have an F double sharp in the key signature.
Like, written like that? Like,
It would be written as an X on the F line, and then all the other ones would be sharps. You'll never see it. You'll never see it. Okay, like I've never seen it, and as long as I've been playing music, I've never seen
Why
it.
not just like add accidentals?
Exactly, and that's what would probably happen if you had to modulate, because really it's the only time you would do it is if you had to change keys into a key with a bunch of sharps. Musicals do that kind of thing a lot, and I've played lots of pit musicals, and I've never seen double sharp in the key signature. Now I'll see double sharp accidentals, sure, that happens, but never in the key signature. Now, the same is true on the flat side, 1 flat, 2 flat, 3 flat, 4 flat, 5 flat, 6 flat, and then yeah, sure, 7 flats. Obviously the 3 flat keys on the bottom and the 3 sharp keys on the bottom, they're the same thing, right? Another way of saying that they're the same thing is calling them inharmonic equivalents, right? G flat and F sharp are the same. They sound the same, but they are written differently. One is written in terms of G flat and one is written in terms of F sharp. They're the same, oops. They're the same scale, but one's in sharps and one's in flats. Okay, all that is easy peasy. The circle of fifths is how we generate scales. Scales are closely related to a thing called the modes, of which there are 7. Yes, the fact that there are 7 modes is exactly and closely related to the fact that there are 7 possible sharps and 7 possible flats. That is a thing. I didn't mention that before, but that is a thing. But yes, there are only 7 modes. Now, the first mode is called Ionian, and it's the one that you're the most familiar with by far because Ionian is just major scale. Okay? It's just a fancy name for it. It's the first mode of that key signature. So, if you are in the key of no sharps and no flats, we arbitrarily call that major, C major. We wouldn't have to. We could call it C Ionian, or we could just call it the Ionian mode of no flats, no sharps, which is a little dumb, but it is. Yes?
Are we going to talk about the modes more?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. This is the review period, okay? So, the Ionian mode, major scale, is what happens if you, using this word, naturally build a scale starting on the root note of that key signature and stay in the key diatonically and play every note in order. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right?
It's just major.
It's just major, okay? You've been playing this since your very first day in band class 37 years ago.
I started with B flat.
Well, yeah, that's what everybody starts with. But yes,
But
Concert B flat.
no,
so
I didn't just start with. Why did this one?
C, well, it's
Because-
band instruments.
Yeah.
So, if you're in orchestra class, you start with D.
Yeah, because C for you is A
Well,
for
because
others.
the
and
same way that
D
band
for
instruments are
others.
naturally kind of easier at playing flats,
B flat.
string instruments are an easier time playing sharps. So if you learn a string instrument, almost guaranteed your first scale will be a D major scale for like violins and stuff. Because it's almost all open notes. It's almost all open strings. And you're just 1/4ing everything else, which makes sense if you play bass, right?
I could play it.
Anyway, so the next mode is called the Dorian mode. It's the second mode. It has the exact same key signature as C major, but has a different pattern of notes. And we are going to build these modes by calling them modified versions of the major scale. A brief aside, yes, you can think about Dorian mode as being in C major, but starting on D, right? That is D Dorian. But I don't want to think about it that way. I want you to think about it instead as, okay, we're in C major. I want to modify C major to make C Dorian, not D Dorian, C Dorian, okay? How do we do that? What do we change?
Second and 6.
Second and 6, good. Right? Wait, that's not right. It's the 3rd and the 7th. Yeah, that's not right. That's the wrong mode.
Well,
We're wrong.
you agreed with me.
I did, because I'm wrong.
I had my hand.
Okay, so it's basically minor with a little bit of major, okay? The top part of it is, sorry, the bottom part is minor. The top part of it is major.
Those first 3 notes.
So, Dorian mode, flat 3, flat 7. That's how you build it, okay? The third mode is what?
It's Phrygian.
Phrygian is how it's pronounced.
Fridge.
How do you build a Phrygian mode?
You do
Cry.
Flat 2.
Flat 2,
3,
3, 6, 7. Right.
Flat 2 is the weird.
The flat 2 is the characteristic sound.
Character.
Right? C Phrygian that has 4 flats in it. Because it has 4 flats, that means it's technically related to what major scale?
A flat.
Scam.
And if you go through and look at it, A flat major and C Dorian are modes of each other. They have the same key signature. They are related. Right? Because they have the same key signature.
That's not okay.
Second cousin.
But I want you to think about it that way, because we're just modifying these scales to build now C Phrygian with 4 flats. Cool. What is the next mode of
Lydian.
the 4th mode is
Like
Lydian?
Lydian.
How do you build Lydian?
Cry.
4, sharp 4.
Sharp 4. Right? Huh?
Is that the new one?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And that is the characteristic sound, is that sharp 4.
Play it. There you go.
What is the 5th mode?
It's Mixolydian.
Mixolydian, which is, how do you build it?
Flat 7.
Flat 7.
So,
Jack.
that's the one that's used for like minor scales, kind of, right?
We'll talk about the usage a little bit more in detail soon. That's coming soon.
So,
Just hang on to that for right now. Okay. The 6th mode is Aeolian.
all
Or-
basically minor.
It's just minor, right? It's just minor. How do you modify major to get minor?
Oh, I do have
How do you modify major to get
it.
minor?
3, 5, 3, 6, 7.
You got it? Wait a second. So a second ago I said that Phrygian, C Phrygian has 4 flats in it, right? And it's related to A flat major. Wait a second. So C minor then also has 3 flats, flat 3, flat 6, flat 7. What does that mean it must be related to? E flat, right? And if you look on the circle of fifths, hey, look at what's the related minor.
C.
C minor. Well, what do you know? Okay. Now we call Aeolian natural minor, right?
I think so.
We'll come back to that in a moment.
Is there an unnatural? Maybe.
Now, there is one
supernatural?
more mode. What is the 7th mode?
Not Mixolydian.
Locrian.
I said right.
Caviar.
What is? How do you build a Locrian?
2, 3.
Everything's flat, no, besides 1 and 4.
Yeah. Flat 2, flat 3, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7.
This was used for.
But I kind of like it.
I do like it.
Yeah. Flat 2, flat 3, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. Basically, it feels like it's not in the same key as this, right? This is the root of Locrian. Okay. Are you sure it's not this is the root? That sounds like kind of like Phrygian, right? No, it's this. This is the root. How dare you? This is a part of the reason why Locrian is basically useless. Yes.
So what is the Ian kind of? Why are they?
These are all named off Greek city-states. The why? Don't worry about it. They're related to the old church modes. What's that related to? The music of the spheres. What's that about? New Age trash that we talked about.
Spheres?
Music of the
You are
spheres.
out of tune.
With the universe. That's why your life sucks. You're out of tune with the universe.
Sucks. Just like,
I don't think your life sucks.
Like it's
Did they use like tuning forks and then they would just play them at somebody just the tuning forks?
Did anybody look up some music of the spheres trash?
I did.
I didn't because
Did you notice how New Age trashy it gets like almost instantly?
Yeah.
Like, man, people have taken what was already a dumb idea, but an old dumb idea, and now they're like, oh, this. Let's make new dumb ideas based off of it.
Oh, wait, my question. Would they hit people in the heads with tuning forks?
To bring them into tune, no, they would just play lutes at them and things to help them out.
Actually, like, I would hit somebody like a flute or like a
Be like, yeah, you made the tuning fork out of tune.
Is the Coldplay album actually like related to that, or does
Xylo
it
My Lido?
sound cool? Huh?
Which one are you talking about?
Music of the Sphere.
Oh, that one.
Is that the
Is it
one with
actually related to it, or did they just think it's something?
the Jacob Collier?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Chris Martin is an interesting dude.
He's dating that one girl.
He's
Dakota
married to that one girl.
They're married?
I think so.
I didn't know that. I don't think they're
Anyway,
I don't know.
I'm not going to get into all this. We need to move forward. Now, let's circle back to our friend the Aeolian mode for a second.
And you don't even want so many vowels. Almost all the vowels.
Now, Aeolian mode is what we call natural minor.
Alien.
However, there are other minor scales. Harmonic, we've recently learned, is by far the most important. How do we build harmonic minor from a major? From a major,
From a major.
how do we build it?
Flat 3, flat 6.
Flat 6, that's correct.
I would say flat 3.
Just the flat 6?
Flat 3, flat 6.
Flat 3, flat 6.
Flat 6,
Is it not lower?
natural 7,
Natural 7.
1.
Okay.
What do we call that natural 7, by the way?
The
Leading.
The leading tone. It is monstrously
That's what I got.
important.
It's just-
Tell me why the leading tone is so important.
Because it leads into the thingy.
The tonic.
It leads you to tonic. It leads you to the root.
I have a question.
Yes.
So why is it not this third? It's like also there. Is it harmonic minor?
Harmonic minor
Is the third?
is flat 3, yes. Now, if we wanted harmonic major, which remember is a thing, how do we build harmonic major?
Flat 6.
It's just flat 6.
Okay, well I don't have that written down.
So stay tuned.
Why?
It's a weird scale.
Why?
Don't worry about it for right now.
I'm quirky and cool. Look
The double harmonic, that's a flat 2, flat 6.
Pop my jaw.
Yes, your question.
So I know you already answered this, but I forgot. We already talked about this, but I forgot.
It's okay.
Locrian, where do we use Locrian?
You don't.
That's the one you
It's
don't use.
it's the one you don't use.
Okay.
It basically will never show up anywhere. And the reason for that is because it doesn't have a leading tone, and there's some more reasons that we'll learn about here in a little bit when we learn about intervals. It has some other characteristics that make it functionally, dangerous word, useless.
I need my mind baby.
Yeah.
Which eye do you look at when you talk to someone?
Pull it up like
So,
Is there a
let's.
wrong one? Like, do I look in the left eye? Do I which? The nose? Like, I don't.
So, let's talk about.
Actually, it's 60% of eye contact is the best amount of eye contact. That's why.
Let's stay focused right now, okay? I'm trying to keep you on track. So, harmonic minor is the most useful minor. Now knowing what you know now, why is it the most useful? Not just because of the leading tone. Why do we need that leading tone so much?
It's used for harmonics and minors.
For the fifth?
Yes, but it's so we have a,
The harmonic fifth, right?
not a harmonic fifth, yes, but it has a name.
The dominant.
A major 5 chord, an actual dominant chord.
Yeah, there.
Oh, yeah.
I was.
Right? And yes, you should write this down. This is probably the most critical thing so far, is that, yes, we have harmonic minor so that we have a major 5 chord in a minor key. Of all the things so far that you've learned, that's probably the most significant, is that you always want to have a major 5 chord. Always. Even if it means going out of the scale to get it.
That's what we did on the homework.
That's what we did on the homework, right? So, harmonic minor exists so that when you build harmonies, you get a major 5 chord. Now, incidentally, you also get some dumb things like potentially a augmented 3 chord, which is useless and nobody ever uses it. It's dumb. You also have the potential for a diminished 7, right? That can happen, but that does happen, but it doesn't happen that often. Really, it's only a thing so that you get a major 5 chord. That's a big deal. Now, there is another minor scale besides natural and harmonic. We also have melodic. How do you build a melodic minor scale going up? Flat 3.
Flat 3. And
Just
then,
flat 3.
And then on the way down, you get rid of it, right?
No, it
No, it
goes
goes
Do you,
down to
do you
one.
add a
Natural minor on the way back down. Okay? So up is just flat 3, back down is natural minor. We haven't really talked about this, but you already know, but we haven't delved into it. But what is the purpose of melodic minor?
To create melodies.
Yep, it's just to write melodies. It's because they sound nice. When you use that natural 6, natural 7 over a minor key, sounds pretty cool. It still sounds minor, too. Even though in isolation it doesn't sound like it's very minor, when you hear it with chords, it actually works quite well. And we'll prove that. Well, we'll prove that many times along the way. That is ahead of where we're going. But you will get that proof.
Hey, what did the shoe say to the hat?
So, the 3 minor scales, not that big a deal. All these modes are going to become important and useful here soon, because we are going to start building triads off of these, but it's not as scary as you think it is, and it's not as much work as you think it is either. We'll talk about it soon, don't worry. Let's talk about how we get to triads in the first place, okay? We've got basically 20 more minutes here, 15 more minutes. Right, scales, if you break them apart and skip every other note, C, E, G, B, if you write them out, that covers, those are all in the lines, right? Or spaces if you're in bass clef. Major, major 7. It's an attractive chord. Now, the thing about arpeggios is that you're just skipping a note. Do, mi, so, ti. 1, 3, 5, 7. It's the first scale degree, third scale degree, fifth scale degree, and seventh scale degree. That is what the arpeggio is. Now, if you play all of those notes simultaneously, that's where you get a chord. If you have a chord with only 3 notes in it, that's called a triad. The basis of what you are learning, what this class is called tertian harmony, or harmony based on triads and thirds. Yep. That does seem to necessitate the existence of other kinds of harmony, and yes, there is chordal and quintal harmony, but it's not particularly useful for reasons that we could talk about maybe at the end of the year. Tertian harmony works well, and it's everything that you've ever heard musically is likely tertian harmony, unless you listen to some weird crap, like I do. But most of what you've ever heard in your life is going to be tertian harmony. And analyzable and explainable using tertian harmony. Which reminds me, this is a slight aside, I apologize. I read probably the best music review article I've ever read in my entire life. Some lady just put out a music analysis of the new Beyonce song, the soul song, Feed My Soul or whatever it's called. And it is like the most in-depth, like highest quality analysis and review of thing I've ever seen ever. It gets like so much theory stuff. We're gonna read it in class in a couple of weeks, I think, because it is like extremely good and very, very impressive. Anyway, we'll get to that. This tertian harmony thing is everywhere. Triads are massively important to all of Western harmony. And they are derived right out of the arpeggios, okay? So in all these triads, there are 12 major triads, right? There are only 12. The one that starts on C and is spelled C-E-G. One that starts on C sharp and is spelled, go ahead, C sharp, E sharp, G sharp, okay, D, F sharp, A, We'll go to E flat arbitrarily here. E flat,
G, B flat,
B flat, E,
E,
G sharp.
G sharp,
G sharp,
E,
B, F,
C,
Just
just C,
F, A, C,
C, yeah.
F sharp,
F sharp, A sharp,
F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, G,
G, B, D,
G, B, D, A flat, C, E flat, A,
A, C,
C sharp,
G sharp, E,
E, B flat,
B,
D, F, and the last one, B,
B, D,
sharp,
F sharp? Just F?
oh, there. Yes, I played the wrong note. B, D sharp, F sharp. Like, music theory just broke right here in my hands. Yeah. Those 12 triads are the only 12 major triads. They are just that right amount of triads to be memorizable.
No.
A thing that you really probably should do. Just memorize your 12 major triads. Well, Smith, does that mean I also have to memorize my minor triads?
Yeah.
Technically, no.
You just flat.
You just flat the third, right? If you had all 12 of your major triads like super memorized, like tattooed onto your heart, you could just quickly build all the minors too, because you just lower that third, and there you are. Now, it's worth mentioning that we always have to spell these in terms of the scale that they are based on, right? It has to always be the root, the third, and the fifth,
Yeah.
right? So C is C, E, G. C sharp is also a C, an E, and a G, right? But it's C sharp, E sharp, and G sharp, or D flat, F, A flat. But whatever, it has to be that because you have to give it in terms of the key. It has to be what would be the first scale degree, what would be the third scale degree, what would be the fifth, right? Those 12 triads are all of the triads in a major that exist. If we wanted to build all the minors, what would we do? You've already said it. You flat the third of all of those, and now you have all 12 minors. What if we wanted all 12 diminished triads?
Flat the third and the fifth.
And the fifth, flat the third and the fifth, you're there. You've done it. Now you've built a diminished triad because C, E flat, G flat, it's a minor third plus a minor third. There you go. Those are all 12 now diminished triads. What if we wanted augmented triads?
Sharp the fifth.
Sharp the fifth. So bring the third back up to normal 3 and then raise the 5. So C augmented is a C, an E of some type, and a G of some type. Well, in the major, it's C and E, and then a G for the fifth, but now we need a G sharp, and yes, it has to be called G sharp, right? And now you've got C augmented, okay? Those are now how you can build all 48 diatonic triads, which you have now done several times, right? I made you do all the triads in all the major and all the minor, and then I made you do all the diatonic triads now twice, one for all the major keys and one for all the minor keys. In reality, I just made you write down all 48 triads multiple times, right? But that's an important thing. I'm trying to get you to have a basic sense of what those major triads are, so you can have them hard memorized into your head, because you're going to use them constantly. It's exactly the same as memorizing your timetables. It is exactly the same. Sure, you can brute force the stupid things every time, but it's so much slower and so much less efficient. So you might as well just memorize them. There's only 12. Just do it. And I guess technically you could say there's 14 because like C sharp you can also call D flat, right? But, you know, that kind of thing.
Is there like an actual like times table for this?
It's this. You've made it several times.
Oh.
Why do you think I made you do this? That's an interval thing. That's a different game. But why do you think I made you do this homework and why I didn't collect it?
Because that's our times table.
That's your times tables. You can use these as a reference for the rest of this entire class. As long as you did it right, which is why we have a correction day today, right? It's all purposeful. All the crap that you have gotten so far is to help you on the rest of the path. Okay? Optical illusion. Persistence of vision.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. It is that.
But really,
So, all of these triads are all 3-note chords. Now, a thing that we're going to be learning soon, and this is worth mentioning because we did talk about this in class. Sure, 1, 3, 5. If we add the next note up, what would it be? A 7. How many notes are in a 7th chord? 4. 1, 3, 5, 7. How many notes are in a 9 chord? 5. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. How many are in an 11 chord? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. How many are in a 13 chord? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. What would the 15th chord be?
18. It would just be with the root, so.
There is no such thing as a 15 chord because it would just be the root again. Wait a second. How many notes are there in a 13 chord? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many notes are there in a major scale again? So wait a minute. Here's the third. The 9th is just the same as the what down up an octave. Here, let me say it this way. C,
Yeah.
E, G, B, D, F, A.
C.
If I were to rearrange these, it's just, right? If you were to play every note of a scale at the same time, you're basically playing a 13th chord. A really dumb 13th chord, voiced in literally the worst way, but this is a chord. This is a C13. Really, it's a C add 9, add 11, add 13. It's a really dumb chord, but if you space it out, now it sounds okay. It's the exact same notes, just spaced them out different.
You gotta do it slower.
I apologize. No, my vibrato is much faster. I'm a diva. Now, that idea of, well, hey, wait a minute, Smith. I just thought you said that we were doing tertian harmony. Why are all of a sudden are we doing tertian harmony, but we're adding another note on top of it? Well, sure, you could say tertian is just triads, 3 notes, but you could also say that this is a major third or a minor third. If we add a third and then another third and then another third, that's a triad. What if we add another third above that 5th? Now we're into a 7th chord. It's still tertian harmony because they're still built out of thirds, right? Even though it now has 4 notes. Now, the thing that's true about what you're learning, classical theory, is that there's really only very few chords that are true 7th chords. But since I'm also going to be teaching you jazz basics here too, and really because jazz is just the basics of all the other pop music, 7th chords are extremely common in jazz and every other kind of pop music. So we're going to be learning about those a lot too. That's where we're heading in the future as well. But you have to understand how triads work to understand how 7th chords and 9th chords and all that trash works. Okay, that is essentially all of music theory as you have learned up to now in 30 minutes. How is your brain?
Apparently. Okay, it makes sense. It just gonna take more programming. Like,
Yes.
remembering all of it's what's making me struggle. Right? But
Yeah.
like, if I have it in front of me, then I
Yep, it's exactly what we talked about the other day in class, right? You're right on that cusp of like totally getting.
Yeah.
The thing that you need is
practice.
repetition, practice, absolutely. And if I can recommend one singular practice thing for all of you to like just start doing, it's saying all 12 of your major triads. Just say it,
BDF.
right? If you would rather instead just say all your scales, that's fine too, but since mostly all of you are in a band class, you're gonna be doing all that all the time anyway, right? Because we say scales all the time. Basically, anytime I say a scale, even if it's for an instrument that's not yours, just say it with me. Because you're just saying, you're just teaching yourself your scales, right? When you do arpeggios, pay really close attention to them. And notice that it's all these exact same patterns, right? But so if I can have any singular piece of advice that needs to click into your brain, it is know all 12 of your major triads. Other questions? Christopher, I feel like you should probably have some questions here.
My brain is too melted.
What is melting it? Can you be specific about what needs?
Well, everything makes sense. It's just new.
Yep.
So like, because I have the back half of everything, so
Right.
the front half just kind of clicked, merged those together.
Yeah.
So it's making more sense now.
Good.
I think I'm okay.
Let me give you this other little piece of information that might make things a little better still. So this is for everybody. So let's say that I wanted to build a characteristic sound with one of the modes. Okay?
Wait, say that again?
I want to build a characteristic sound with one of the modes. Let's just use Dorian mode, okay? So tell me how to build a Dorian mode again.
Flat.
Major scale.
Flat 3.
Flat
What would the one chord be?
It's the root.
Root.
I got what?
The third scale degree,
Flat third.
which would be a flat 3,
Yeah.
and the fifth, right?
That's a minor.
It's a minor triad. The Dorian mode has as its one chord a minor. What about its two chord?
Major.
No, it's Phrygian.
It's minor,
Oh, well,
right?
you know what? I did.
What about the three chord? Major. Three chords are supposed to be what in a major key?
Minor.
Minor. But now all of a sudden in Dorian, because we have an altered third and an altered seventh, we end up with a major three chord. So a very characteristic sound for Dorian mode is to go.
That sounds cool.
So this is minor 1, major 3. Because in a major key, this would be major 1, minor 3.
That sounds boring.
Right. But in Dorian, the characteristic chords are that 1 and that 3 chord, a major 3, a minor 1 and a major 3. Interesting. There's lots of pop songs that are in Dorian mode that do that use the characteristic triads. Right? The whole reason that we have these modes, and we're going to learn about them, is the emotions that the modes bring. Remember how I said that if you build triads off of scale degrees in a scale, it heightens their power? Modes are super emotionally weird and all that kind of stuff. If you build triads off of the modes, you can get really interesting emotional sounds. Stuff that is really different than what you would expect. So let's do the Lydian one again. Okay? Lydian mode has what is the characteristic note? The sharp 4, right? This is interesting. The one chord, the tonic triad, is going to be what? In C.
It's just regular.
C, just basic OC, right? Nothing different. What about the 2 chord? D, F sharp, because that's that raised 4, A. That's major.
Yeah.
A major 2 chord. Oh, right, instead of, which is what you expect it would be, right? A minor 2 chord. A major 2 chord is now all of a sudden like, whoa, very bright sounding, but it gets weirder. Okay, a 3 chord is still going to be the same. What is that? Minor 3 chord. What about a 4 chord?
That's diminished.
That's a diminished triad, F sharp, A, C.
Spicy.
So the 4 chord is a diminished chord? That's funky. Okay? The 5 chord is still major, so it still works. Major 5.
I can't take any more in my brain.
I have a whole history test.
It's okay, we're almost done.
We have 1 minute.
A minor is still the 6 chord. Here's the last spicy boy. The 7 chord
Minute.
is major.
Major?
Major.
B, D, F sharp, because that raised 4 scale degree. Right? A major 7 chord. So here's what Lydian sounds like. Whew. Weird. Okay. What the heck? You end up with way more major chords than you're supposed to have. So Lydian ends up being like spookity major because it's got so many more major chords than it naturally should.
Is it more major than?
It's more major than major.
More major than major, yeah.
So if you want something to sound like overly happy, ha 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 ha.
Put it in, Lydia.
Aggressively happy. Lydia.
In your face, happiness.
All right, my friends, that's where we're going after this. Bye, Caden. I'm sorry that you got Christopher's brain splattered all over the lens back there.
What did you have? What happened?
What?
Your
Christopher's
brain?
mind's gone floated and speared
Yeah,
all
so
over
like
the
I
camera
wasn't
back
here for the first week, so we just did a review. So like a lot of new knowledge.
Sucking it all in.
So much knowledge.
Too much.
So much.